Hi, welcome back to Binkerbelle's Yarning. It's Wednesday, which means that it's We Learn Wednesday. So this particular one we're going to be exploring mixed media when it comes to knitting and crocheting. So if you remember when we took a look at Baba Bundles in Marrickville, Ontario, I picked up one of their fiber knots. Right, now this particular one is put together for rug hooking. So it's not unusual in traditional rug hooking, the one that makes murals, not the one with the little pokey up carpet pieces, that mixed media is often used as a texture. So we're actually looking at mixed media for knitting and crochet. So I have here a scarf that I made out of the red and orange and yellow fiber knot that I picked up there. This particular one is knitted, but crocheting definitely can happen with that. So most of you know about crocheting or knitting with pop tabs or bottle caps or beads in order to add embellishments to a piece, but there's no reason why you can't mix fibers. So a lot of people are like, oh, don't mix fibers when you're knitting and crocheting. So you can get a myriad of fibers and yarns, and there's absolutely no reason why you can't mix them in order to create different looks and different textures. It's the same thing with using thick and thin yarn. Again, no reason why not. It gives you a different texture, it gives you a different look, often very artsy, because that's what we do, it's art. And you should do it the way you want to do it as opposed to what everybody else says you should. So I went and picked up a whole bunch of stuff. I'll show you in the upcoming cut, and put together a fiber knot. It was so much fun. I absolutely loved it. So we're going to cut to that and then we'll come back. So here are the materials that I've gathered for the mixed media or mixed materials hand knotted or hand tied knot. So I have here a sparkly scarf that I picked up at the local thrift store. I have a wonderful piece of fleece roving here that I picked up at the Gray Heron in Belleville. You'll actually see Gray Heron in one of my feature pieces on a Fibre Friday. I picked up this here at another, it was actually a craft shop, so it was a sewing, it was mostly materials and sewing items. So this was made in Italy, and it's 50% tactile and 50% nylon. So I'm going to add that in. I have this here. This is actually what started this particular grouping. So this I also picked up at the thrift store when I found this. Now this first. And it's really long piece of satin ribbon with these attached beads. So that's what started all of this particular grouping. So that's really pretty. And then I also have this here. It's a natural wool, and I picked this up at Gray Heron as well. And it is 100% Lana virgin wool, or 100% virgin wool. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut this into strips. I'm going to cut this into sections, this into sections, this into sections. This here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take it apart, not just in sections, but also in pieces, so that it's not quite so thick. See, it just pulls apart nicely, just like that. So I'm not using the entire chunk like this. I'm using the bit like this. It'll go a little bit farther and it'll be easier to work with once I start crocheting. So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to take apart the materials and string them, create sections of them, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to put it together. Okay, so here we are. I have all my materials cut and separated, as you can see. Each of them are approximately a yard in length. Now I say approximately because when you're working with reclaimed materials, you kind of get the sizes that you get, I guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this together. Now putting it together is for knitting or crocheting. Like I said earlier, These mixed media knots have a tendency to be more used in rug hooking, so you would use each strand separately as opposed to one continuous skein. But for our purposes, we are putting it together. Now I've experimented with different ways of tying them all together, and I find that the way that I'm going to show you works best, for me anyways. So, get my patterning together. Take my ends like this, and I leave lots of space so that I can actually weave my ends in or run them over when I'm knitting or crocheting. So just like you would for a slip knot, and then tug it. Okay, and then I'm going to do my next piece of material. Just like that. Like that. And then use one of these. Now for this one, I'm going to probably clip off the excess beads later, just so that I can weave the end in properly. I might leave it out, I don't know. We'll see once I actually get to making something with this. This one, go. Come through. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to clip those off when I actually come to make something with it. A piece of the roving here. We are, and I'm going to attach, oops, banging my camera, this piece here. There we are. So when you're working, you'll work up to here, and then you can either move it forward like this so that you can run it over, or you can simply skip the knot and go back and weave this into your project. So I'm going to keep attaching this together, and then we'll come back and see what we have. So here we are. I've knotted everything together. I just kept going until I had run out of the roving, actually, because that was the yarn that I had the least of the material that I had the least amount of. I did end up clipping off all of these little beads. I just found that working with the beads attached was a little too cumbersome, and after a while I thought that probably wouldn't work up very well. So for measuring this, each section I made sure was about a yard. So I will go through and count how many sections I have in order to determine my total yardage. Now, because I'm just kind of playing with it right now, that is kind of irrelevant, but I'd say probably have about 40 yards here, approximately. Anyway, so this will get crocheted into something that I kind of have been mulling over in my mind for a while now, and I will actually be adding it to this yarn here. which I picked up at a craft store in Belleville. So it feels really, really, really soft. And it is a chunky 5. It's listed as a chunky 5. It is 100% acrylic, but it's super, super soft. And I love the marbling in it. So I find that they'll probably go nicely together to make something really pretty. So that is our We Learn Wednesday on how to do mixed media fiber knots. So much fun. I absolutely had a blast doing that. Now, the idea that I had, that I was telling you about, is actually this. I know it looks like a bit of a mess right now, but the fiber knot that I put together there, I actually put into this shawl that I'm working on. I know it looks like a bit of a mess right now because I haven't weaved in my ends, but as you can see, it gives a really interesting texture and interesting look. Now, generally speaking, when you're working with mixed fibers, you want to choose a hook or a needle, the largest one that you have to fit the largest diameter, the largest weight of fiber. So this particular roving, it's a super bulky, so it's a 6. I would normally use a 10mm hook or needle in order to work with it, but because I wanted that really chunky, tight look in this, and then the looser looks with the thinner pieces, I went with a 6.5. Now I am writing a pattern for this, so if you're interested, keep an eye out on my Ravelry page, because it will appear there at some point. So back to this one here, as I promised in the title for this particular video, I have a giveaway. Yay, giveaways! So what you will get for this giveaway is you will get the purple fiber knot from Baba Bundles. You will get the lilacs and lupins. You see that very well? No, it's kind of... Anyways, the lilacs and lupins skein of roving. And you will get enough working yarn in order to make this scarf. You will also get the knitting and crochet pattern for this scarf. Now, this particular pattern is currently only available at Baba Bundles, so you either pop over there, pick it up, take a look at their wonderful selection, or you can send me a direct email down in the comment section. It's binkerbellesyarning@gmail.com, and you can request a PDF copy of the pattern. It will be popping into my Ravelry. I'm not entirely sure when, but it will be there, so you can also wait patiently in order to pick it up there. So, in order to enter the contest for this particular giveaway, you have to be in Canada or the continental United States, and that's just a matter of shipping costs. You have to be subscribed to my channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell in order to get notifications, because I will be having more surprise giveaways. Let's see, what else? Like this video. If you can, share it across your social media. And you have to answer the question, where did I pick up the orange roving that I used in the fiber knot demonstration? So answer that correctly, qualify with all the other ones, and bang, you're in. Make sure you comment with your answer down at the bottom. Yeah. That's everything. Anyways, we'll see you later.